Hey, good morning, everyone. Well, I turned on CNBC and they said the markets are soaring. I'm like, wow, really? And I look at this and it's like, all right, they're up on the day, a little bit of exaggeration there, but they are gapping higher on some more news, reassurances from politicians that things are going to be okay. We'll see how far that goes. All right, so where are they? Gapping up here above the high of the wide range bar, right into a little bitty void. Maybe they could get higher to that 400 level. And if they can hold on to this gap up for whatever, 10, 20 minutes or so, interested to see if they get sold right into. Uh, they are gapping above the 20. You can see my cursor there, and it leaves room up to 400 before it reaches that pivot on the hourly chart. And 400 is the whole number that's going to be the sticking point. Has been for a while, where it's kind of been the that big open interest in puts and calls. It's been steady there and continues. And while prices get somewhat away from it, it gets pulled back. And 50 MA is lined up right there as well. Subjective, but it is lined up with that pivot and a whole number. So if prices can get higher, I would look for that area and closer to that pivot to be where sellers would emerge. So again, gapping up, pullback. So if this does pull back, the gap fill would not be that far away. So there's two areas now where that. Let's do it this way. Yeah, let's do it this way. So when prices gap up, and you can see again the horizontal line, the cursor that's there to see where it's going to gap to, assuming it's here in the next 25 minutes. The next part, what do we do is, well, will buyers step up? If you see selling first thing, not a gap and go, selling first thing, you look to this pivot high, which was resistance, to be support, and more likely would be a pullback to this area right here, a little stronger area. And so if we were to get, whether it's a 5-minute chart or 2-minute chart, it pulls back into here and you get a bottoming tail bar or a bullish 180, whatever it is, that would be the place to consider a long. And then, maybe it moves up into here, as we get toward 11, 12 o'clock or so. But that would be my initial plan and thought, since it's gapped up, resistance isn't that far away. If it's just a gap and it just rips up there, well, I'm probably not going to do anything. But if it gaps up and then pulls back into this area, like I said, that would make sense. Since it's at support, buyers would be stepping up, and then you'd look for it to take out the high of the day and we'll try to and then move up to this area where it's stiffer resistance. And it's not that far. And so we'll get to SPX, and unless you think that the market is, and it very may well just stay in this relatively tight trading range because of the Fed meeting starting and Yellen going to be speaking. She's, well, proven to be a liar or incompetent, but you want to hang your hat on that anyway. So futures are already up here near that 50 MA. And this, if we get a pullback, it just looks like it'll continue to push up to that area the way it's moving up there. So that's already there. And they would, so as I look at this and say, well, there is a void up here. Let's just run too far. I certainly wouldn't even consider a continuation pattern in a market like this. This whippy, erratic display of uncertainty is what this is. So This is just schizophrenic type of price action here with overlapping bars and tails. Maybe this tags the 50 MA, which there's nothing to the left of it. You can see the cursor on the hourly chart, but the concept of a greater than 100% retracement, this came down here at support, runs up and takes out these highs. It's just not a good place to enter. It's not an intelligent place to enter. But if it pulls back, you've got whatever's coming out of their mouths. And then, of course, tomorrow. So it's not going to be the best 2 days of a trading environment when something could be said and something's going to be said on Wednesday that's going to move the market. So we got to get past this new news announcement. All right, so SPX, I'm not really too comfortable with this, with the numbers that I've seen, which were 40-30, which is, so what these numbers are, this is what the average has been, as things have narrowed a little bit. A week ago, it was about 50 points. Coming into this week, it was 80 some odd points, and now 72 points. And just starting from yesterday's close, thereabouts, and now, it's up here. It's up around here, based where SPY is. It was right above here. And yeah, if it keeps going up, Jake, 40-35, but still, it's within this range. That's possible. Ideally, you want to get outside that range and near some resistance area. So you can see the numbers there. 40-30 is right at the edge. And of course, this line, when starting from this closing price, but it's opening up here, which kind of makes it a little further away. And the downside, if it was to just reverse back down in a nasty way, last I looked, I don't know if it's still got that premium, was 39.10. And Jake's got 39.15 because as things move up, the lower strikes don't have the premium. So 39.15, you can see where that is. I mean, even though that's opening here, 39.15, that's doable. So this isn't any kind of a no-brainer, no doubt. You would think they're not going to move that far, but you never know. And this is, the process that we go through here is like, okay, if we can get outside of these ranges and line it up with some resistance, it works. I'm not sure this is going to work today, especially with news. And Qs have been strong. They're coming up into this resistance area. They're underperforming. They underperformed yesterday. Tech has already moved up. And, if these banks are up this morning. But overall, what we would be looking for this is if this can continue to consolidate and get past Wednesday without any type of significant drop, that really opens up the door to some very surprising potential bullish moves with this pattern here of getting out of this initial trading range and then looking to the next level higher. So we do have a wide range bar over here, and so far it's just consolidating at resistance. I just want to look at the Qs. It's similar. And so we'll see how this unfolds. But, this kind of price action, especially one in which it dips down like that and came back, it is at resistance. So I don't know if it's enough yet, but breaking below that low and coming back, if we didn't have these talking heads today and the interest rates tomorrow, we would definitely be looking for this as a long to move higher. McGraw's telling me about the same numbers. Is a V kind of bounce with a deep retracement indeed, but we are in a downtrend with not many lower pivot high around here somewhere. Well, if you mean the S&Ps, it could. And if you look at, I showed this chart in the letter over the weekend, showing, if you equally weighted S&P and looking at this, just hanging down here at the lows versus, the spiders, where it's still a sloppy, terrible kind of a pattern. But you look at QQQ, and you could see it breaks out. And then you look at QQWE, I think it is, or EW, QQEW, lower high, lower lows. So we're back to what it was a couple of years ago, FANG stocks and some, tech stocks that are showing that relative strength. So you equal the weighting of those compared to the other stocks, and this is in a downtrend, lower highs and lower lows. Right, I just had RSP up, and it's even worse, but it's short-term extended, right? Short-term extended. Remember, we talked about reading momentum increases, and this is a momentum increase greater than the one that started, and it's vertical, and that's bearish. So, of course, the bias is this is going to get sold into, and then lower prices. So you got this huge divergence between the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100. We know semiconductors are doing well, and other tech stocks and bank stocks are doing terribly, and metal stocks and oil stocks. And so it's got this big diverse thing going on there. So, all right. So Russell, beaten down. It's coming up off of support. It's not reached the October low yet, which is what we want to see. The Dow, clearing this resistance, that broke down. It's coming up into the middle of that big red bar, but it's cleared this area. So this could keep moving up. We'll look at Dow stocks to see which ones are outperforming, which ones have underperformed and might play catch up. But consolidating, coming up to here is pretty reasonable. Even looking at the day-to-day ranges so far today isn't equal what this has been. So it could get up there. Yeah. The transports look terrible. We don't have any kind of a market remote situation where the market's firing on all cylinders. Not at all. 10-year moving up. This is what you want to see. So you might think you want to see interest rates going down because it's historically good for stocks comparison, interest rates versus yields on the S&P 500 and all that. But breaking below here is going to be more supportive of a bias that institutions are going to say there's little to no demand for money, and more confirmation of a recession, besides all the people that are losing their jobs and this bank debacle and steel and copper dropping and airlines and all of that. So, we don't really just don't want the last shoe to drop. Well, maybe we do, and just get this over with and get, the markets to drop down to lower levels where, they'll be, I don't know, use the word value there, fundamental value at that point. Are things overcooked enough to where buyers will step up more aggressively and start another move higher? Look at this craziness. The drop now gapping back up here. Like, oh, the Fed's going to keep going and going. And then the banking news, no, they can't. Oh, maybe they can. No, they can't. Oh, yeah, they're going to. So, we looked at the volatility index yesterday. So no matter where you look, there's pictures of uncertainty. And, trade small, Of course, be picky, but it could be crazy. And it's always kind of crazy when they make the announcement, but even probably more so now. Uh, so surprisingly, silver is just hanging there as the dollar goes up. Usually be going the other way, but look at gold. That's starting to come down off of its high point, but it did come up to this pivot resistance area there, and you can see the little head and shoulders top on the hourly. So that looks like it'll be coming down a little bit. And crude oil collapsed. It's trying to bounce a little, and we got a kind of a precarious situation, uncertainty, and going to be easy to get whipsawed here. So I'll repeat it: trade smaller. Bitcoin just hanging up there after that crazy run up. But, we'll see how things move after this Fed announcement, and then where we go from there. All yours, Dan.
Well, good morning. Yeah, even though the broader markets are a mess, we've still been doing a good job finding individual compelling setups. A couple 1, 2, 3s hit yesterday. A number of these climos in various industries all over the place. A couple trades are still pending, didn't trigger. NUE was a put spread we sold yesterday. I see one print up here. If it is opening up here, then I'll be looking to cover half and tighten the stop. Apple was on our list from yesterday. Looks fantastic. And there was a lot of good looking 1, 2, 3s. We did the AB test, XLK, and SMH. I just liked it a tad better. There's no bear market here. Frick, this thing has just been in the limelight of being the next one to go under. That's what the price action is showing. Yesterday, we were looking at the puts. Oh wow, now they have, oh wow, they opened up 50-cent level puts. Wow, goes all the way to 50 cents. They're not populated yet because they just opened them overnight. But the $10 or the $10 puts on this thing, $2.20. So this thing is just priced for devastation in the next couple of days. That's 765% implied volatility. It's gapping up. Who knows? It just depends if you want to play with an unknown fire, if you have a bias of, well, I don't think they're going to let it go under. But bear in mind, there's a difference between equity value and the Fed jumping in to backstop deposits. So keep that in mind if you're playing with fire. But KRE here, we actually have as a put spread over this big green bar. Bullish gap, if it closes right there, it's gapping over 2 red bars. Could be the start of something. Look at hog bottom right. It got an upgrade today. I don't know if there's any other news besides that, but that's a nice gap from a retest, Climo. So that's on my long list, put spread list. PG, yeah, this has been on my list ever since this igniting closing breakout bar. You're chasing a little bit, but that still has a void. Look at the intraday. I don't like the way that trades at all intraday. So that is not a good day trading stock, just based on that. Meta also got an upgrade. Oh, and Jamie Dimon is putting it's all over the news how he's kind of spearheading consulting for this thing. Oh, also remember this Frick. Remember I asked you all last week when they said, oh, they got 30 billion of of shore up financing, and I was scratching my head saying, what type of financing is it? And I said, are these other banks on the line? Because remember, Bank of America, JP Morgan, there's a handful of banks that did that. And then I heard on the news today it was not equity investment. They just moved over like some of their deposits. So that one is way beyond my understanding. Why on earth would a more solid bank move deposits to a shit bank? I don't get that one at all. And in fact, it's like, whose deposits are they? Like, are deposits earmarked, so to speak? I would be mad if, like, I had money at JP Morgan and then they send me an email. Oh, guess what? We sent your deposit over to Frick. How's that? Meta here got an upgrade. This has been on a tear. It's beautiful little ignited gap right there from a little buy setup to keep the bank up. Okay, but why is that JP Morgan's problem? No, Apple was $395 closing price today. No, it's $395. Not sure what you're looking at there, Frank. That's the post. All right, well, let's not get sidetracked on that. We can talk about it more later. Yeah, so many things killed. So I H here I like as a put spread. You know, no, read what I just typed, pasted. It says 395. So I'm not sure what you're talking about. SLX here, Climo. It says, all right, what? Hey guys, okay. Then I just post. No. No. I see what happened now. I typed midpoint. You see? I typed midpoint. I just didn't delete that limit. So it's midpoint. So, all right, you got me. But it should have been common sense, you all. But let's keep going. All right, let me fix it on the spreadsheet here, though, so I don't get any more emails. Because some when I say midpoint, it means I want in. But when I'm selling, sometimes I give limits, like I can calculate it. Like, for example, if I say, oh, it's just 10 cents over the closing price is my entry, and then I look at the things and I'm like, okay, do a limit of XYZ. And then obviously when I sell options, 95% of the time, I give limits too. And that's kind of to take care of gaps and excessive moves. I know there was one right here. CSIQ is one solar stock. Has a nice gap up. Fizzler was on our list from yesterday. Look at this, amazing. You know, you can call this a buy setup or a bull flag. You know, many times they are similar if you have the big flagpole. Call it what you want. That's bullish as can be. I posted, and we looked at a bunch of these stocks yesterday. I posted Dairy Queen. Look at Dairy Queen here, deep retracement, 180 reversal. You know, when you get deep retracements, I am not looking for new highs. I'm just looking for a bounce into this void. And, you know, coming up to this bar would make sense. AIG insurance got back with the regionals. So, you know, these are due for a bounce. That one's on my list. NUE we talked about. Onan. Big old igniting gap. Daily, weekly, but we need a pullback. ALT. It's probably a bio that's getting whacked on a breakdown. Hog we talked about, Marriott, another Climo put spread. 4-bar turn at the 200. That's put spread idea. Lynn, this would be a nice put spread idea if there's anything under here over yesterday's high. But I don't think it has weeklies. Low G bottoming pattern. I see it gapping up. We'll see if it can close. Meta, Apple we talked about. I have an alarm. UMC, a closing breakout from a 1, 2, 3. DXCM, put spread idea, day trade idea. Pan W is on our list from yesterday. Nice bullish consolidation into the 20. Here's a couple of earnings stocks. Garbage. Oh, that was okay. So that was earnings right there. So that CSIQ. There's nothing for me to do with that. Gap breakdown looks lower, but I don't like shorting $3 stocks. This is a Climo opening flat, no interest, no pattern. SY, $2 stock, no interest. All right, so there's nothing in earnings land. Let's see a couple other leftovers here. CDW. There's so many patterns that are Climos and making these turns with red bars ignored. Oh, I posted IWN also as a put spread. Obviously, you got to decide your risk tolerance of holding into FOMC. But this is a nice gap over yesterday's high from a Climo, major support. I got multi-bar turn of major support. Yeah, Don, it wasn't liquid, so I don't know, but yeah, now I see another print at 152. So what you do in a case like this is look at your level 1, and you're looking for what? You're looking for a high bid, and there is a high bid at 150 and change. So yes, that's a very good sign. So I'll be looking to change. OLED was a beautiful 1, 2, 3. My alarm just went off. So I'll be tightening stop on that. That was a beautiful 1, 2, 3. Beautiful pattern right there. Beautiful. Even as an ad, you can add 10, 15, 30-minute high. Shoot, I do not like when we get gap and goes. But I said yesterday over yesterday's high, I was bullish today. I was bullish, and now kind of a gap and go. Yeah, Don. Yeah, I knew it wasn't going to be near on the gap open. So I came up with that number that it would only get filled in a pullback. And all right, we did a put spread yesterday. Apple is hitting. Let me tighten the stop here on NUE 138. They're spreading 17 by 60, so we're gonna have to wait a few minutes.